Good morning. Well, today we have a plan. I had the weekend to think about it, see what's possible, should I do, what I can't do. Basically, this wall over here, which is the one with tiles on it, I can't remove. I was thinking maybe I can remove this wall, remove the load, some of the load on the floor, but I can't. So what they've done is they've done 3-meter beams on the ceiling this way and 3-meter beams or so on this side resting on this wall. And of course, under this wall, there's no support whatsoever because it's the middle of the bedroom, the master bedroom. So either I've got to start trying to reinforce the floors with I-beams and stuff like that, and they'd be about 7 meters long. That's how big this span is. It's about six and a half, almost 7 meters. Finding that kind of beam that's that small that will actually do that is not really realistic. And then how do I get them in? And how would I get the beams in and turn them around and get them onto the floor? Like in, you know what I mean? It's like, so it's becomes a lot more difficult. So I kind of went back and thought, okay, what's the actual issue here? The floors, not really bouncy. They've just sagged over time. So it's not like there's cracks in them. They're not like they're going to collapse. So what I've decided to do is I'm removing these walls over here. So the sections around that were divided up that we had before with the arch and those bits, I'm going to knock them down today. I'm going to keep this end over here that kind of separates the little utility cupboard where we'll put the water heater and that sort of stuff. But all the way through, I'm going to get rid of all this and above this. I've checked and double checked. The joists will be fine. You know, maybe a little bit of plaster comes down on me, but I'll wear a little hat or something like that, or helmet. But so that's the goal, is to get rid of this. And then once this is done, I'm going to be lifting up the floor in here. All the rafters run this way. So of course the long way, I don't know why they would do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this up, this floor in here. I'm going to take up the bedroom floor as well. I wanted to because there's a huge slope on it. I'm going to save all the tiles in there. I've got to figure out a way to how can I mark them without staining them. So whether I can find some sort of waterproof stickers or something that I can put on a sheet of, you know, like on the laser printer and print them out. I don't know. I'll figure a way to individually mark all the tiles in that room. And then obviously remove the tiles on this floor. But under this floor, what we have is we have about, I'd say 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches, 2.5, 3 inches of a lime mortar. And that raises the floor by a lot. And then there's tiles underneath, which are about the same height as a 25 or 22 millimeter OSB. So what I'll be doing is removing all of this right back down to the joists. I'm then going to do make slivers of wood. So basically I'll drill down screws from the top, put a piece of wood beside it and mark the level of the screws on the piece of wood. And then I will rip the pieces of wood, attach them with adhesive and screws down into the top of the joist. Then what I'll do is I'm going to put in, in England they call them noggins. Here, I guess they're cross braces. And I'm just going to really do more than I need, maybe like 1 every meter or even less. So I'll probably put like 3 or 4 across here. Even this room wouldn't need it. You would probably just need 1 or 2 at most, but I'll probably put 3 here. Just overdo it, and the same as in the other room. And that cross bracing will help make sure that it minimizes the deflection at the new height. So I'm leaving the joists warped. I'm going to put a piece of wood on top to level it, as in like slivers of wood, reinforce it, and then I'll be putting OSB board on top, gluing it all down with construction adhesive and screws right down to the top of it. And then to make up this difference of this 2 or 3 inches, you can buy insulated boards you can put on the ground or for floor, and that will raise it up to the level I want. I was going to do that in here anyways with the waterproofing system they've got. I forget the name of it. And then basically I'll put that down there. That makes it all perfectly waterproof. Oh, I'm also going to sister on OSB to the sides of those things. So once I get them level, I'll sister on OSB, which will reinforce it. And then I'm also going to put in noggins or cross bracing. So that should be more than enough. Once again, I'm not worried about it collapsing. It's just the sagging. What I don't want to have happen is put all the tiles in, put a bathtub in here, and then have it dip down a little more, and then all the tiles and everything crack, right? I'm going to use flexible adhesive and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's the plan. My long-winded plan is I'm happy with it. It was good to take a little break. I'm going to try to chip off the walls, all the tiles on this wall. I'm expecting to damage it because there's pipes popping up. So luckily I bought those blocks that I'm going to then cut out individual bits of it and then reinsert them in and glue it with that MAP adhesive. So they'll come in useful for that wall there because I can't remove the whole thing, but I can take a block out, put it in, that kind of thing. So yeah, so basically, next up, start smashing stuff at a grand scale. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, but this should all come down quite quickly. I'm going to be a little gentle with it. I'll wear my hat. Wish me luck. Hopefully I don't get crushed. So my first step is going to be, I'm going to get rid of basically all the arches. I'm going to leave the walls, smash through these sections above the arch and above. Well, I can't do the one at the end as easily because there's a light mounted to the wall. So I'm going to have to try to be a little more gentle with that one, where the toilet used to be. I'm going to get rid of this and make sure that that holds at least. And then I'll start knocking the walls down and then we'll see how it goes. Let's get on with that. So just thought I'd show you here how this wall is made up. So it looks like they've got metal bars running through these blocks, and then they put mortar in them, whether they were all one piece or not, I don't think so. And then basically it's just tiles above it, or these blocks above it. So that's probably to stop it from sagging along the bottom here, which makes sense. I bet you there may not be any even over on that arched one, but probably these two here. I still don't think there's any structuralness to these walls. Nothing's even sagged at this point. So yeah, let's continue on. But yeah, it's interesting. So it's kind of like a header that they made out of metal bars. Not very strong, but yeah, they're there. Well, that's pretty crazy. It was less than an hour and I got it all down. So there's a lot of cleanup to do. I'm going to get rid of the majority of this before I go and try to chip off the little bits that are still stuck on the ceiling because I don't want to damage those tiles. So I don't want to and I also don't want to fall. So I don't want to put a ladder on anymore on the rubble pile. But yeah, it feels like a completely different bathroom. It's so huge now. I mean, it felt big, but it feels even bigger. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to determine where I'm gonna square off this back wall over here. How big we want the shower. We want the shower here, the sink here, and the toilet there. And then the big they call it roll top tub here, sitting in front of the window. Yeah, but the ceiling didn't come down, so that's fantastic, because we're a little worried about that. Not really, but yeah. So let's start getting rid of some rubble, I guess. It's a lot to get rid of, probably 4 or 5 trailer loads. Well, I didn't quite get done today. I have to put a pause on it because there's apparently a big storm coming in with like almost 100-kilometer-an-hour winds, and so I've got to wrap up a bit early today. Would have liked to have gotten all this done, but we'll start again tomorrow. See you then. Well, it's been about 2 days since I've been able to do any work because there's been such huge winds. I think we're hitting like 70, almost 100-kilometer-hour winds, and I couldn't have the chute out to get rid of all the tiles and bricks and stuff because it was too windy. And it was also raining the whole time. So anyways, got the chute back out. I've emptied stuff out of the dump there. We're ready to go for another round. So let's get rid of this, and then I'm going to see if I can get these tiles off the wall behind me and finish taking the bits off on the ceiling that are left over. But so far, things are looking really good. So let's get on to that. Wow, that was easy. Well, there we go, another step done. I've got all the walls down, I've got every tile removed, including the skirting board or baseboard tiles. Yeah, and I was really excited because I managed to get these tiles off without causing any damage whatsoever. So there's little sections here where you can see where they've cut through to put the pipes in for the sink. So we'll have to see what If I'm going to remove that and try to patch those when I remove the pipes, I don't know yet, a little thinking. I'm a little worried about where this wall is sitting. I think it's sitting on tiles, but I'm not sure. That'll be in the next video to see if what kind of mess I have with this wall, whether I can save it or not, or, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But anyways, it's been a good bit of progress. The room looks massively bigger, which is crazy. So I'm glad I did it. And yeah, so we should hopefully be getting this floor up starting the next vid. And then we can start laying wires and all the cables and plumbing and stuff like that, which is the real reason why I, took all this down. But yeah, so good. So anyways, thanks for watching and hope you have a great weekend. Cheers.